Welcome, film industry professionals, film buffs, and aspiring filmmakers. I'm your host, Fernando Gillen, and our lovely co-host, Dana De La Camera. This is the Cinema Pathway TV show, presented by Paradoxical Films and brought to you by Cinevideotech. Join us on this journey behind the camera and, most importantly, beyond what we know about cinema and the craft of filmmaking and all its mysteries. So please take a seat, grab a soda and some popcorn, and join us on this cinema road together, because we are the Cinema Pathway TV show. Welcome to the Cinema Pathway TV show. I am your host, Fernando Gillen, and today's episode is a very special one. We are sitting with the filmmaker and producer whose creativity and vision is truly inspiring. South Florida's own Mo Fitzgibbons. Welcome to the show, Mo.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here with you.
Mo Fitzgibbon has built a daring career, overcoming every obstacle with discipline and determination. Miami native went from being a model teenager, skateboarding on the cover of magazines and commercials, to directing, producing, and writing for over 2 decades. She founded a company called Walker Fitzgibbon TV Film, located in South Florida and Los Angeles. Among other projects include broadcast television and national commercials. Her expertise in promos, animation, reality, variety, biographies, documentaries, and music specials in English and Spanish make her one of the most sought after in the film industry. She had worked with prominent directors like Ridley Scott, Kaye, and Spike Jonze in videos and national commercials for Coca-Cola, Burger King, and other top advertisers. Soon after, she started producing and directing commercials and music videos. Simultaneously, she gained experience in post-production, graphic design, and special effects for multimedia platforms such as HBO, MTV, and other channels. Fitzgibbon established a new entity, LAFLA Film Nation, which is introducing a series of one-on-one workshops and career advisement programs for young filmmakers coming out of Florida to give them a leg up on how to enter the business of creating visual content and navigating the industry to become successful while building their careers and companies in Florida. Mo Fitzgibbon has countless recognitions and awards to her credit. She is known for the critically acclaimed investigation in the Discovery Channel ID series Real Vice Miami and Lifetime Television's intimate portrait of Gloria Estefan.
So, Mo, as you know, we are very thrilled to have you back with us from your humble beginnings.
Oh, wow.
When you first saw yourself in front of the camera, what was it like? How was that experience?
It was unique, let's say, because it was different than like normal people being on camera. For me, it was like, my mom, she started to get us in modeling a little bit, and we got a little headshot, but we still weren't into it. And this, of course, is in Miami, and I don't want to date myself, but late 70s, everything was sunshine and surfing and skateboarding.
It all started.
Yeah, I started skateboarding in commercials. And so my experience would be different because all the models were so pretty. They were perfect. And here I was, this scruffy 12-year-old, just no makeup, whitish blonde hair, super tan. I had a seashell necklace. That was a big deal at that time. And I was...
In what way?
At that time, we wore seashell necklaces if you were a surfer. That was very significant. That meant you were a surfer. So I wore my seashell necklace with my little short shorts. I kicked up on that handstand and the whole place was speechless. That was the beginning of my career in the film business.
When you did that, like the approach to you, how was that?
That was a weird thing how that happened because I was kind of like an ugly duckling. No, really. I was awkward. I had big freckles. I just didn't get it yet. Boy, when I came in, it would be blonde hair, green eyes, cocoa skin, and that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to book. And so I just I got into it and I worked in front of the camera as a surfer girl skateboarder for like 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I was everywhere. Coca-Cola, Burger King, Nabisco, Nationals.
That's incredible
Yeah.
how that little moment in your life
Yeah.
just like took off into this entire world. Were you the only one in your family, that is, that went into the business, like the entertainment business?
No, actually, my brother, older than me, one year older and a half, he was actually the star. He had a look that was like his look. It was like Ralph Lauren.
Okay.
So you had that sort of Ralph Lauren vibe with him. And he booked everything. And I never did. And so what happened, word came out in the business that they were looking for a skateboard girl for a commercial. And they remembered me, another family, this girl that could do it. And ends up, we were all living in the same neighborhood. And she came running next door to our house from her house. And she said, "Oh, we just heard there's a fantastic audition. Please get her there." And at the time, I was Maureen. So they called me Reenie, but I was never, I was Maureen. So
you lived in the same neighborhood and they just came over like, "Hey, Reenie, I got news for you."
That is exactly. No, Reenie. That's what they called me. Because it would be like Maureenie, get it? So it would be like, okay, when you have like your neighborhood kids torturing you and teasing you. So that's exactly what happened. And I was so afraid because I just wasn't sure about it.
You didn't know.
I didn't know. And so I go there. Oh my gosh. It was for Burdines. Burdines was a famous department store.
I remember those days.
In Florida back in those days. And it was I ended up becoming the it girl for Burdines. For about 2 years, I was the inside cover of every Miami Herald in the Tropic magazine was a picture of me, all from this handstand on a skateboard, who, by the way, if I told you guys, because I know that you talk to a lot of people, but the makeup stylist was a very famous casting director.
Oh, really?
Dee Miller. She was the makeup lady before she was a casting director. And Bert Dubois, another well-known director, the two of them working the Burdines project. And guess what? Later, and we'll get there, I became their client.
So based on what you just told me about, and it's completely natural when you're just starting in the business to feel afraid, feel that doubt if you start wondering all of this stuff, right? Did you have any mentors? And how do they help you to gain all of this knowledge that eventually led you to be a director, a producer, a writer, basically everything?
Well, it's interesting. Many young people, it's a tough thing if you grow up in a broken home. Your parents aren't together and there's 5 children. Literally, like I wore my brother's clothes. Like every one of us, we didn't realize it at the time. We did not have a chance for much. We weren't going to go to college because there was not that kind of money in the house. So even though my mother was raising us almost like a single parent, there was something about her that gave us the idea that we can be something. If we found something that we really like to do, or we found a place where we could go and become something in our own mind. And I think skateboarding was an escape for me as a young girl, because it's hard skateboarding, okay? My knuckles were torn up and my kneecaps, and I would skateboard barefoot and I would be free on that. And I wouldn't think about the parents or the family. And that really gave me the thing that I needed to give me the confidence to go on. And then from there, I started training with the best coaches in South Florida. Robin Ryder. I studied Stanislavski like you.
Stanislavski, yeah.
Slavsky. I studied Shakespeare. I'm in many feature films. I don't know if you know that, but I actually have speaking parts in several of them. I was on camera all the way into my mid-20s. So besides working in the business, eventually later, I was still auditioning and reading for commercials and movie parts all the way.
Thespian.
all the way until my mid-20s. So I have a part in the movie Miami Blues. I star opposite Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
And I don't like him now.
That guy.
But, I mean, I do, but he's nuts. I mean, really, Alec, take a chill pill. So I've had these great opportunities on camera, but there was just something so very fascinating for me behind the scenes. I said, I knew it.
That's something that just felt it, like you knew.
I knew it at 16, I knew it at 18, and I immediately latched onto that. I started working at 16 behind the scenes in still photography. You know, knowing that I was not going to have the opportunity for college, I was eager to get more information. And so I would find ways to do it.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, your upbringing, what you told me about your mom, and, you know, I kind of think about the fact that maybe, like you said, like you didn't have any expectations that you were going to go to college. And like at the same time, you think your mom knew that you felt that way? And like, she seems like somebody who supported you when all of this started to happen to you. And that's a very good feeling to know that even amongst that struggle, you found your way.
I think with my mom, and her name was Ruth, by the way, Ruth Fitzgibbon, she is also, my mother has the most famous meme, and it's with Jim Carrey in the moo-moo scene. Do you ever see it?
The moo-moo scene?
There's a scene where Jim Carrey is dancing with an elderly lady in a moo-moo. And you see it everywhere. That is Ruth Fitzgibbon. Like if you say, I want to send a meme, Jim Carrey, because, you know, he was institutionalized in an old people home in the feature film, right? He ended up in some crazy place. And my mother had a part in that. And it's with the lady in the moo-moo. So my mother, she was a drum major. She wanted to be what she wanted her daughter to be.
Aww.
So that happens. But her daughter wanted to be that. So when your daughter wants to be that,
You just go.
then you're going to rise them up
Absolutely.
like there's no tomorrow. And when you know that you don't have a chance, or your kid may not have a chance, that's like a mother trying to get education for their kid to be the best. My mother had me at ballet school, tap dancing, acting classes. She would work 2 part-time jobs in a department store just so I could study with Robin Ryder, just so I could work with Iris Acker, just so I could have classes with Lori Wyman. I know Lori Wyman and Cheryl Loudon, and Ellen Jacoby, all these casting directors know me since I'm a kid,
Those are
like
big
a
names
teenager,
right there.
16, 14, 15.
All right, guys. So we're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we'll continue with more of Mo Fitzgibbon's approach on her craft and her success in her career of film and television. Stay tuned. Be right back.
Welcome to Tell Your Story. It is a masterclass hands-on workshop that is presented by Cine Videotech and brought to you by Paradoxical Films. Crafting cinematic vision and lighting engineers with the instructor, Mr. Egon Stefan Jr. You will learn how to work with actual film, 16mm, Super 16mm, 35mm, and film cameras. In addition, how to load them and change magazines. Furthermore, the workshop will prepare you on how and what it takes to work on set as a first or second assistant camera, the fundamentals of lighting, and the pathway to becoming a director of photography. Furthermore, coming soon, unveiling the artistry, a mastering of makeup techniques with the uber-talented special effects makeup artist, Bianca Graciani. She will enrich your knowledge and techniques with professional tools that are implemented in the film industry, commercials, and more. For information about the classes and updates, everything will be posted on our website at www.paradoxicalfilms.com/tellyourstory.
And we are so back with Mo Fitzgibbon and her journey as a businesswoman. It's such a pleasure to have you here this evening, Mo.
Thank you.
How was that experience working with Ridley Scott, Spike Jonze, Kaye, just Ridley Scott?
You just never know. So while I was working at this ad agency for quite some time, I took short ends and I went out and I shot and directed things of my own and built a director's reel. And I quietly went out there and took my 21 sick days and I knocked on everybody's door. to see if they would hire me as a producer or a line producer. I showed them my work, but they all knew me. They knew me because I worked at the top ad agency as an agency producer, but I was making less than the other producer. And I was like Cinderella because it was like I put the shoots together, the casting, the budgets, everything. They would say, okay, you stay behind and this person will go on the shoot with us to the production company. So agency producers work different. You know, there's usually 3 or 4 of us. We get assigned to project. Let's say it is Burdines or it's something. We oversee that and then we go to the shoot. The agency producer will go to the shoot and oversee it with the production company. And they would say, you don't need to go. We're sending him. I just said that was it. I was in the hallway of this ad agency. It was in the late 80s. And I said, and I want everybody to remember this day because tomorrow I'm going to incorporate my own company and I'm going to build it on my own. And I'm never going to look back because I'm never going to make less than this guy. And I'm going to be the director and I'm going to be the one that's standing there making the decision.
It's laser focused determination.
And within 1 year, I did it.
1 year?
1 year. You know what's interesting? I sent my reel. Back then, we had to send reels out, for God's sake. It's not like a QuickTime file and you send a file. And when you're looking for the agencies back then, we didn't have the research and things to get.
Like now, today, yeah.
But we used to go into like the South Florida Business Journal and see the top ad agencies, the top 100 in the state of Florida, see what they did, send our reels to them, and really research and get the business. That's why people say, oh, there's no clients, there's no work, but there's plenty. It's just you have to look at the way in which to find it like we had to, because we didn't have anything you guys had.
No, yeah, it was different times. No social media, no internet. It was way, way different. Sometimes I think that's actually, it was better back in the day.
Yeah.
You know?
So what happened? My reel would say, Maureen, and then I would have Mo, in quotes, Fitzgibbon, because this Mo started coming.
Yeah, how did that started?
Okay, so an ex-husband boyfriend called me Mojo, and I did not like that.
Mojo?
And then somebody just called me Mo because Maureen is nicknamed Mo. No E, just M-O.
Just M-O.
So what happened is, sent these letters out, and I was like, gosh, nobody's calling, you know. And sure enough, I get a letter back. And it says,
Mo.
Dear Mr. Mo Fitzgibbon, we really liked your reel. And we'd like very much to meet with you.
Wow.
And
how did you feel?
I was just like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So, of course, I had somebody else call and say that I would be there. And the appointment was set with the secretary. And I walk in, guns a-blazing. Mo Fitzgibbon. Not Mr. Mo, Moshe Fitzgibbon. And I just kicked that door down, and I had my yellow hat on and my cowboy boots, and I sat at a table with all men to discuss how I would direct their commercial.
And just like that.
And then I got the call. It was really a tourism film for Miami Beach. It was my first client.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What an interesting story. I mean, like everything you've said is, I'm trying to like play the movie in my head, and it just sounds like you've had many experiences, met a lot of people. I'm pretty overwhelmed by your story so far. I mean, it's quite a story. I really don't know how to put it into words better than you did. I feel, you know, that you probably learned many lessons that you've carried throughout your entire filmmaker career. And how do you think that maybe that has helped you shape into the person who you are today?
The people that you align yourself with, because when you're making decisions and you create the career path, you make your path. A path just doesn't land in front of you. So if you are driven and you have ideas about how you see yourself or where you see yourself want to be, it's like we were talking about, how did I come to work with Ridley Scott? So I went, I knocked on these doors. I had this reel. I said, I can produce, I can line produce, I can direct, I can do these things. And another production company hired me to line produce for them. So I took these sick days and I left the agency and I would work with people. And then one day word came out, well, there's this girl, Mo, she's really cool. And she can line produced
Hell
for
yeah.
you. And she's an independent. So what happened, Ridley Scott's company called. They got the word on me that I was really cool and I wore a yellow hat. And so I walked around South Beach and we went up and down the streets. Now, let me just tell you what South Beach looked like in 1992 and 93. Nothing. It was organic. It was beautiful. You have Versace didn't even have the mansion yet.
Wow.
There was no Versace mansion. There was modeling. There was overseas business. There was so much work. South Beach just became this big backdrop, and everybody was grooving on it for everything for quite some time. And then it had a transition. So that's what happened. I would walk around with Ridley Scott behind them, listen to the conversations, how he would talk about how he was going to shoot this job and break it down. And I would just take that all in. And I did that. And with Tony Kaye, he was doing a soul asylum. They had Runaway Train, which nobody probably remembers that. It won a Grammy. My very first music video that I worked on, Tony Kaye won the Grammy, and I was the producer on it. But literally, Tony Kaye was crazy. It was Easter Sunday. He lit a cross on fire in Kissimmee, Orlando, and the sheriff is showing up, and I'm in a Winnebago, and I'm going, hi, nice to meet you. What are you doing burning a cross on Easter Sunday, dude? Get it out. The cops are here. But he was such a cool guy. He taught me the most amazing thing. He took me in the camera truck, and he showed me how he organically will take the film out of the chamber and put it back in so that he'll go back out and shoot on top of it and have an organic double image of the scene before. He goes into the truck, he takes it out, takes it out of the chamber, puts it back in a certain way so he gets an organic dissolve on top of the imagery. And the whole Runaway Train was about kids who ran away, and they were on milk cartons. It was a very big thing, man. And that was my first video with that guy. And sure enough, that was a sign. That was a sign for me.
Unbelievable.
Because if you can handle that crazy. So the thing about directing and the thing about producing, when you're a good producer, you look at the crazy people like they're geniuses. And then you get crazy with them. And then they love you for that. And then after you've gotten crazy with them, then that's when you can say, dude, you cannot do that.
After you're done with
Okay,
that
you're not
journey.
doing that, okay? Because you're going to take us, you're going to put us into overtime. It's not going to be pretty. I know it'll be worth doing, but if you can catch up and get that shot, I will give you that opportunity to get it. So when you know you have a trust, by the way, we're talking 500,000, 700,000, $1 million commercials. Now a commercial is maybe 40 G's, 20, 60,
Things have
whatever.
changed for sure.
But we were getting big money, and my day as a producer was $1,000 a day. As a producer, just walking the streets, looking at locations was $1,000 a day. So there was times where you make good money and not good money, and you just take the good with the bad. That's the nature
part
of the
of the
business.
game for sure.
So those guys, what they taught me was things about the camera that I didn't know about. And I realized later that when you gain the knowledge and you know that you have a matte box and you have lenses that change and you have a wide, a tight, a medium, and a fast and a slow, and you have these things are important for directors to know.
Absolutely.
So as I go along and learn, and I'm already a good producer now, so I'm going to direct. And that's what happened. Because I knew that I was already going to be a good director because I was already editing the commercials. I was producing them. I was writing at the agency level. I would tell people, get into an ad agency, work there. Because if you want to be a director, whether it's in films or features or whatever, just like Ridley Scott, he was a major commercial director in this industry, and you can hire him today to shoot a commercial for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All day long. So when
sure.
people say, oh, it's a feature, it's a short, it's a film, it's not that. It's everything. We all want to make a feature, trust me. But features are hard. Okay, we all want to write a TV show, but guess what? You need a showrunner. That's how it works. So once you learn that you're going to play in the playpen or the playground with those people you want to play with, and what you want to do in that playground with them, or the kind of sandcastle you want to build, then you better know everything. Because if you're going to sit in the room with Emilio Estefan and Gloria and everybody and talk about how you're going to deliver a network show, a cable show, a theatrical release, an in-airline program, all in the same time period, then you realize, okay, this is getting real interesting, because the girl in Miami is not only working with a lot of networks, but I'm reading contracts and deliveries and arrangements and period of engagements. You know, you have to start learning.
Quick.
Yeah. And you got to be cool, and you can't even look bothered by this. You can't even look like you don't even drink the water they offer you.
Yeah, you have to adapt really quick.
You just look and say, okay, yeah. Because you cannot show fear.
Not at all. You have to be super confident and know exactly what you're talking about. About Walker TV Film and Television, your company, what was a breaking point in your career that drove you to establish that?
Okay, so I love it that you just said Walker first.
Really?
You did. Because, you know, it's really interesting, because Mo Fitzgibbon was Fitzgibbon Inc. before there was Walker Fitzgibbon. Now, I'll tell you the story if you like.
Of course I do. Please.
So,
share it with us.
while I was at this ad agency, one of those producers that they brought in was the great Robert W. Walker from Y100. Literally. Robert Walker is a genius broadcaster. You know, today I can't even believe that that's my partner in crime.
Unbelievable.
But he built Power 96, Y100, all the radio stations across South Florida. He crossed over many artists, Gloria Estefan. KC and the Sunshine Band, literally. Harry Wayne is his name. I don't know if you know that, is the name of KC. And he wrote a song about Robert Walker called I'm Your Boogeyman. So when you hear that song, I'm Your Boogeyman, he is actually singing about Robert Walker on the radio at Y100. And so Robert was in between contracts with radio stations, and he came over to the ad agency that I was at. And they said, hey, man, why don't we build a recording studio? And he set out to build this studio called Airwave. So you had the ad team and Airwave, which was a 2-company entity,
right,
of which I was an agency producer for. And before you know it, I'm going over to Airwave to build Airwave, because I am a builder. Producers build. They lay the foundation, they put the walls up, they get the windows in, everything. That's what we do. So they sent me over there to roll that facility out. So at this agency, I'm learning different things. Budgets, ideas, pitching, client relationship, building divisions, studios. It's like 2 years, 3 years of this amazing place where I was able to grow. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go and incorporate myself. And the very next day, I met with an accountant, and for $150, we incorporated Fitzgibbon Inc. And Fitzgibbon Inc., its own entity until the mid-90s, when Rob Walker and Mo Fitzgibbon teamed up, and we lit it up, both personally and professionally. Okay. So cool. Okay. Now, you weren't expecting that. But he was sleeping with the director. No, I'm kidding. Literally, you can go a lot. You can go a long, long way when you're sleeping with the director. So we ended up collaborating well before having any kind of like interest. And we became badasses. He would call me up and say, please, you know, I'd love for you and your team to go and shoot this and shoot that.
It was meant to be.
It was, but we had a strictly platonic relationship
At the beginning.
for a long period of time. And it was crazy because, while Fitzgibbon was by itself, I was operating in an apartment building, in an apartment. I went from a 1-bedroom. So this is how you're growing. I went from a 400-foot square room to a 2-bedroom with an office in it and another bedroom and the living room. And then I ended up in a larger space, and I was still operating on my own. And I had done tourism films, and I was doing infomercials and writing them and pulling people together. And this fabulous girl came to me and she said, I have watched everything you've ever done, and I want to work with you, and I will leave my job. She was like valedictorian. Her name, Kita Ozuna. I don't know if you know her. She's a genius. And she jumped on my wagon with me. She was at Limelight Studios, a big studio, and she approached me while I was going in for a session. And she said, I watched everything you've done, and I see you when you come here, and I know what you're about, and I want to work with you.
So you inspired her. She felt
and
inspiration.
She was with me 5 years, and we hit the streets running. And then Rob Walker, he merged. And before you know it, I had offices, 2 edit bays, and I'm doing commercials and music videos and biopics and vignettes, and new technology was coming.
Yeah.
New technology is coming, guys. Offline editing, Avid, digital beta, Digi, Red. Everything is coming. Everything is coming during this time.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you for that. Guys, we're going to take a short break. When we're back, we'll continue with Mo's loves for her craft. Stay tuned.
We want to take this moment to thank our partners that helped us make this show possible. Cine Videotech has provided film equipment, training, and rental services inside and outside the United States since 1968. Theatrical Productions offers consulting, productions, and rental services in Central and South America for a wide range of films, advertising, marketing, commercial projects, and more. Art Accelerator is a nonprofit organization that helps emerging artists accelerate their careers through film classes and film industry networking events. And we are back with our lovely guest, writer, director, producer, Mo Fitzgibbon. Mo,
Yeah.
in all your years of experience, do you feel that having a college degree makes a difference in the industry?
So when I share my contact card, when you share your contact card, you can select the ones you want to be in the contact. Email, phone, address, office. And then there's the thing at the bottom that says notes.
Okay.
And I have something in mind, and it says School of Hard Knocks. And the School of Hard Knocks is the college that I graduated from. That school was very different because at that school, we had to come in at the bottom. There was no degree that said you are or have this and you will go and do this title. It was, hello, it's 4 a.m., 5, and the job that you will do today is this, which will be getting coffee, getting coolers, getting mosquito spray for everybody, wiping their boots off. You did it. That was the beginning for me. And then it went into, from there, I was fascinated with scripting, script supervisor. Then I learned that. And that made sense to me because then I understood what all those scene numbers meant.
Right.
Scene 1 or scene 1, Apple, Baker Charlie. Okay, now I get it. Scene 2, Apple. Okay, now I understood. 3, camera A, camera B, camera C. Plotting cameras out. Oh, that's good. The next place I went to was set. And in the set, it would be like what we're doing now. Coming up with ideas for the chairs, or the background,
Yeah,
or
the
the
blocking,
look,
this
going
and
to
that.
get them, bringing them back. So I went into production design. Then I went into line producing, coordinating. So So I'm self-educated, and I went through the school of hard knocks in the sense of going through every level of those. We have above the line and you have below the line. So my goal was, to achieve things in below the line, because I one day wanted to be above the line, which would be writing, directing, producing, whether it was a TV show or writing a film or whatever. One day I'll be above the line. At that time, no, I didn't have Intimate Portrait yet. I think for me, when I put that note there, it's a reminder. I'm not Ivy League. I don't have a BA. I'm not a film student.
But I think that a lot has to do also with your personality and how you adapt to the environment that you're in. And also what you're describing, what I think about it is like an ongoing learning experience to be able to jump from one department to another. When I think about it in terms of like for an actor, for example, it's the same thing. Like I could have certificates or degrees in performing arts, etc. But at the end of the day, or at least that's what I've learned, is that sometimes that really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they can cast you just because you look like the character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or like back in the day, like you just said, that you're doing this at the School of Knocks. Same thing with auditions. Like I miss those days when you actually had to go into a room and you had an audience to perform in front of. Now you have to be your own director, your own editor, your own lighting department, your own everything.
I can't believe it.
I
directed a colleague who wanted a director for a part in a movie. And when I saw the spec sheet for the actor to deliver the audition, we used to pay a casting director for what is called callback with video, or we would ask for a half day back just to see the 10. They would be shooting them, and they're sending this actor a spec sheet, how they want it framed, how many takes you're gonna get, what you're wearing. I'm thinking, boy, you guys got it made, because they're getting the money for that. Just so you know, the casting director is getting the money for all that. Here's what I say about it. If you want health care, and if you want a salary, get a college degree. Why? Because you'll get a job right away, because you'll have a degree. Now, if you want to be a filmmaker and you're thinking you want to be a writer, and you're thinking I want to be a writer in television, well, then you will get on a plane and you will go to California, because you need to go and be in the writer's room, or you need to try to get a job at NBC or CBS as a page that's going to work on a show at night, and they'll move you around in different shows. They have a page program. They hire 100 at NBC right out of college, but you have to sign up for that in college. Now, you can land a sweet job at NBC at the studios in Los Angeles and get in the pipeline of that. And you can go from scripted to non-scripted. You can go into comedy shows. So what they do is they take these young executives, they groom them to go into what they call programming. And that means that they will actually go and be on the set of that particular show.
Right.
Just like an agency producer went and supervised that commercial, or the record executive went to the music video set. So it's all the same thing. It's just a different format. So if you're looking to write television shows, you have to get in the writer's room. You have to join WGA. You should go to California, where they are delivering shows to networks, where you can absolutely find out if you want to work with a certain writer there or get in a writer's room. All you do is get that IMDb Pro. You look at your top shows. You see who the writers are on the show.
Who the casting director.
You get their emails, or you find out the production company is listed with the production off. There's a lot of ways. I don't like using that word anymore because I'm in love with cats. But there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Not literally. Okay. Technically speaking, there's a lot of ways to do it now. You guys have so many ways. I would say IMDb Pro is the number one thing I would tell every actor, every writer, every developer, every producer, that if you want to be in the orbit and run with the pack, find your tribe. Once you get with them, you show up and you'll be in a community of people that you'll be able to talk to and be able to be guiding by, you know. I would say for me, it was different. Because I was an actor, I worked in movies. The Champ, Absence of Malice, Miami Blues, Porky's. I mean, Torquay, you know, crazy, you know, like 80s, 90s, Miami Vice. I've actually been in a movie, working in motion picture with big directors as talent. Then I've actually worked in the business as a director, delivering shows to networks, whether it was music special or the Gloria Estefan biopic. So I am self-educated, so different. But when I made the move over, you know, I moved to LA. I did a bi-coastal thing there, 16 years. That's another segment. But my goal, here I was, so very lucky to be working with Gloria and Emilio.
Hell yeah.
VH1 to 1, Women in Music, HBO specials, Lifetime television, you name it. The biggest of things. I couldn't even believe it. Like, how did this happen? Then I thought, oh, I'd love to write a movie, or I'd love to make a movie. I mean, I have enough hours to like accumulate a movie. You know what I mean? The truth of the matter is we all strive to be something more than what we are at the moment. We have to have meaning. We have to feel like we can keep growing, right? So once we feel like we can keep growing, we're not trapped. We haven't hit a ceiling. We're not sick of this. We need more. Where am I going? I, like you, have the same wake up. I want to give up. I want to throw the script up in the air and watch it fall in slow motion, version number 52. And then the next minute, I'm getting a call for version number 52 to look at it one more time and blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, you want to do this gig with us? You know, we want you to come in and write it. You know, we have to have our dreams. We have to have our passion, but we have to make a living. We have to be smart about it. How I ended up, I just got into tourism films and infomercials and ad agency. I found a place there. That's where I grew. And from there, other things turned me on. And I was ready to learn about them, and I was ready to try them. And once I incorporated my company and I left that ball and chain. And what is a ball and chain? Well, it's where you feel like you need to stay somewhere for the money, or you need to stay there to pay the bill, but your heart is broken every day. And you're thinking, I'm never getting there this way. I'm going to make $387 a week for the rest of my life, watching everybody walk out the door with everything I built? No. So I knew I was never going to look back. I incorporated. I worked 10 years straight, 60-hour weeks. I mean, sleepless, every show, every gig, so satisfied.
It was worth it. Totally worth it.
Totally. And then somewhere in this was somebody who said it's not enough. What? How could that be not enough? You're doing a lot already. Why isn't this enough? I don't know. It's just not enough. You know, there are people out there that will fund your movie. A lot of people are making movies for 50 grand. I mean, there's this great guy here in South Florida doing so well with small movies right now. I don't even think they're 100 grand, and he's getting distribution on them. And so, you know, you could do it. I mean, people are doing it.
You heard it, guys. So please, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't do anything else. Stay right there on your seat. We'll be back with our special guest, Mo Fitzgibbons. At Cinema Pathway TV, we are committed to bring value to you and our film community as we explore the craft of filmmaking around the world. Also, visit us online at www.paradoxicalfilms.com/shop, where you can purchase Paradoxical Films and Cinema Pathway gear such as hoodies, t-shirts, hats, stickers, and more. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at cinema_pathway_podcast for behind-the-scenes footage, photos, and more. And we are back to the Cinema Pathway TV show with our special guest and talented filmmaker, Mo Fitzgibbons. So, Mo, what are the new film projects you're working on currently?
Well, a couple things. One, I wrapped up on 6 vignettes. They were done in animation. And it's weird because, like, I think about all the things that I've directed. We talk about commercials, right? One of the commercials that I sent you was a Primetime Emmy nominee consideration. It's hysterical. You'll love it. It's about a boy having a little birthday party, and his parents think they're bringing Cowboy Dave to the party, and it ends up being Cowboy Dave, the male stripper. And he knocks on the door, and all the kids are there, and they're like, and he starts with the little chaps and everything and shakes his fanny. It's a crowd pleaser.
On that note, how does it feel to be nominated for a Grammy?
Oh,
As a writer, director, producer, like when you, how is that experience? Like somebody calls you like, hey, yo, so you've been nominated
yes,
for a
that's
Grammy.
exactly.
Like, are you down? Are you coming
my
to the
God.
show? Are you
Oh
coming
my
to the
God.
ceremony?
Yes, yes, and yes. I just did not expect that.
Can you describe that day? What were you doing? Were you having a good day or shitty
I was in
day?
the
What was it?
office. I had dark circles down to my cheekbones. I was just over it all. And then the president of a Stefan Television called, and he has a joke with me because he knows my Mr. Mo joke. He goes, Maureen. So he uses the old name right, on purpose. Just to, yes. Guess what? I go, what now? He's like, you guys got nominated for a Grammy. And I'm like, what? I thought I was hearing things. And before you know it, we were all in the works. By the way, you want to know what I wore?
Yeah, please.
Chanel. In your life, I've never bought a single designer thing in my life. But my friend's like, I'm sorry. You're going to be on the red carpet at the Grammys televised? No. So I remember going to Bay Harbor. Like, if you know you're going to Bell Harbor, okay.
You're buying something?
It's happening, man. And I remember going in the Chanel store. In your life, never in my dreams. The poor girl, the girl who didn't have the degree, the girl whose dad never showed up, or didn't give her mom a penny to raise them, or whatever it could have been, is now in Bell Harbor shops buying Chanel for the red carpet at the Grammys.
You just can't make that up.
It's
man.
cool.
It's
cool.
What an experience. I don't know how would I feel.
What happens? You get first invited to the medal ceremony, and it's like you receive a medal this big, like an Olympic medal, and it's got the Grammy phone. It just looks like an Olympic medal. You stand there like on a podium. You get the picture, the whole thing, all the nominees. Then you end up in a very private room with everybody who is ever a nominee for that year's Grammy. And it's everybody and their mother. Everybody. Could be Gloria, could be Beyonce standing. It's like anybody who got a Grammy, it's a ceremony.
Yeah, of
to
course.
receive your Grammy medal, your nomination medal. That's sick.
That is sick.
That's
Totally sick.
Okay. And you know what I did? Oh my God.
What did you do?
I put hair extension. Like I wanted to be Stevie Nicks, okay? That's it. Give me the freaking hair extensions. Give me the long dress with the velvet and the boots. That's what I want to look like. This time period was crazy. That was, I believe it was 2001.
Oh, beginning of the century.
Okay, so what happens with these? They do sometimes live. They call the craft committees. So, I was a member of the Academy for over 20 years. I actually served on many of the craft committees for music videos. And the way they do it is very interesting. So A through F of those videos go to room A of judges, and, G through Z goes to the other room. We look at them, we choose whatever it is, and we send them over to the other room, and they choose theirs, they send them back, and together we all look at them, they get judged, and the judges are badasses. So imagine that was the year that I did not attend the judging period. It was strange. I just didn't make it. What happens if a record label or the artist submitted your work and you are in the judging thing, because it's only by your peers with the Grammys.
Okay.
You have to leave the room.
Okay.
And then you don't know anything from there on out. So I did not attend that. So it was a complete surprise when it was called In the Craft Award, a long form. So
amazing
But
experience.
they
Not a
called
dull
it-
moment
Okay,
with
so
you, Mo.
Gloria was there. So Gloria, all the stars are in the front row, and us people, who just make everything, editors and directors, we're way in the back. The star makers are way in the back, and they're up front. And sure enough, they name the five. They say it out loud. Gloria Estefan, Don't Stop DVD, director, Mo Fitzgibbon. I'm like,
Ooh.
and it's the whole room with every freaking person under the sun. And the winner is Jimi Hendrix. What? No, that's not what I wanted. But I thought if I was going to lose to Jimmy, no prob.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
Hey.
you're competing with Jimmy as well. What experience do you consider the one that is most special to you in the business? Since you've mentioned you've produced, you've done commercials.
The very, very most special, it would be Lifetime Television Intimate Portrait, Gloria Stefan. I want to just say at the top, Gloria Stefan is an incredible woman. She has proved to many women that you can do it, and you can do it all. She's a writer. She directs. Talent and kindness. There's just so many words I can't even describe, but there was a moment where we were back a little bit. My partner, Robert Walker, and her president of the company go back with Gloria when she was a teenager. And Gloria and Amelia would go to the radio stations with little cassette.
What a throwback, guys.
And Amelia would
Cassettes.
make these little windbreakers. They were like little sound machine. He's a genius, FYI. I'll tell you more about him. And he and Gloria would show up and knock on the doors of every radio station. And Y100 was the only English language station that opened their door to them. And it was Robert W. Walker, my partner, and Frank Amadeo, their past president. That's how I basically met her.
Mo, do you think people are more interested in independent filmmaking, or they still go for like the big blockbuster Hollywood movies?
Well, it's hard to say. You know, Mission Impossible.
That's what I was
is
thinking. I was
huge.
thinking about that.
My good friend, Esai Morales, I'm just so proud of him. He got into that deal. He's the villain. It's, I think, 3 films.
On which?
The Mission Impossible.
The last 3?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the guy?
He's the villain.
No way.
Yeah. He's such a cool guy. But here's the thing, because I do develop, right? And I do write scripts and television. I have a movie too, like you, I'm sure, and other people in this room. The movies that are getting made right now are from the studios are under 20 pictures a year right now. They're also very large, and they're what we call tentpole, and they are helmed by the biggest of the biggest. Now, the movies that you can make, I think, are in the independent world, because you can get your own money, you can fund it, you can get distribution. Where we get, it's tough. We can make a festival film and you have good actors in them. But if you think that festival film is going to be the film that's going to get selected in 3 or 4 festivals, then it's going to get that to be a movie to be made. That's a different matter, because a festival film and a movie to get made is different, because unless that movie's finished and it's what we call theater ready, and you got distributors ready to take it because they saw it someplace and it's really ready, or you, like me, go the hard way, write it, and try to get big actors on it. And this could take forever. Or get soft money to lock up Esai, who wants to do it. There's a thing that you can do as an independent that I like.
What's the story about the hat? So when you wear the hat, does it give you like a special superpower?
Yeah. It's like Superwoman, and like the hat makes me feel like I'm in command. It's almost like
A skipper.
Sometimes when you run the show, or you're in charge, or you're trying to get 50 people across the field at the end of the day with all those scenes and shots in the can, you gotta like have a presence. And I always felt like my hat signified that. They knew that I came to show up on that set, running that show. And, those black cowboy boots and that yellow hat just said it all,
So Mo, are you ready for final thoughts?
Oh my gosh.
We designed this segment just to get to know your human side a little bit more. So the way it works is that I will ask you a few questions, and you have to respond quickly without giving it too much thought. Are you
Go.
ready?
Ready.
What's your favorite word?
Go.
What's your favorite food?
Bread.
What's your favorite place?
The beach.
Your favorite movie?
Scarface.
Ooh. How do you wish to be remembered?
Oh my God.
By God?
No,
Like-
I'm not dying. Okay. The skateboard queen.
Oh, I like that. If you had to sum up your life's work in one word, what word would that be?
Indescribably indescribable. Indescribable is it. I mean, it's a lot. Maybe the word is a lot. It's a lot.
Indescribable.
I can't describe it. It's so amazing. Amazing.
I agree.
One word.
I
One
agree.
word. Amazing.
Amazing. I like that. Where can the audience and fans reach out to you or follow you?
Yes, anytime, anywhere. Obviously, Facebook, Mo Fitzgibbon. You can just messenger me. No problem. Instagram, Mo Fitzgibbon Film. Same thing. Send me a message. Love to hear from you. I always like to connect with everybody and find out what their journey is and what they're doing.
Beautiful. And do you have any words of wisdom that you can share with the
Yes.
audience?
I think if there was something that I could say, if I could say something to you, to the filmmaker, is do not stop. There will be so many obstacles. You have to rise above it and figure out a way to make it work out so that whatever you're doing in your life, if you want to be the filmmaker, you'll be able to just realize that when all else failed or when everything was the worst that it could be, you'll see it'll all pay off. Just give it a little time.
Mo, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome.
We truly wish you the best of luck in your future projects. Remember that here at the Cinema Pathway TV show, you have a home, you have a family, and I am very pleased to have known you. Thank you so
wow.
much for sharing.
Definitely we're around and we'll be hanging, so
Amen.
we might be making a movie together. Who knows?
Amen twice. To our audience, thank you so much for watching our Cinema Pathway TV show. Remember that you can stream the Cinema Pathway podcast at your favorite platform, as well as many other episodes with special guests. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. That's a wrap, and lights out.